Hi, this is Stacy with Lily Bean Crafts by Stacy. Welcome back, and if it's your first time, thanks for stopping by. I really wanted to make a crackle tumbler with some floral images inside of there, so as I was looking through all of my vinyl pieces, I couldn't really find anything that I really wanted to make this more farmhouse style look with, so I went through a bunch of my old scraps because I save all of my pieces of scrap vinyl, and I found this one already cut out in a triangle because I had used it to make like a double V split last year, and this was totally my inspiration for making this tumbler. I just went ahead and just applied it right away. I have a 24-ounce PLUMP from the Tipsy Magnolia that I'm using, and I cleaned it and prepped it, and I just went right in and put that one piece of vinyl on there. And then I was like, I'm gonna show how you can make an entire tumbler just based off of scrap materials. So once I had that applied on there using the hinge method, I'm gonna go and take some painter's tape and just cover the whole thing. And then I'm gonna take it outside and I'm gonna spray paint it with Brownie from Color Shot Spray Paints. It's a really rich, vibrant brown because I wanted, when you do the crackle, you have to have a color underneath. And I normally do a dark gray, and I just wanted to do something that matched these sunflowers a little bit more. So after I get this all taped up and spray painted, we'll get moving on. The sunflower vinyl that I'm using is from Emily Breed's collection with the Rustic Passions studio, and I got this particular piece at Gracefully Created. 311 Co. also carries several of her patterns and element sheets, so I have discount codes for both Gracefully Created and 311 Co., whichever company that you like to order your vinyls from. Now that I have all of the painter's tape on there, like I said, I'm going to take it outside, spray paint it. I'm going to let it completely dry. And then now I'm going in with my crackle medium to do the crackle method. So I'm just taking this little chip brush that I have that I got probably on Amazon or Home Depot or something like that. I have a whole bunch of them just kind of laying around. These are absolutely great to make the crackle method. I feel like it gives it a real farmhouse look. So I am just squirting a little bit of the crackle medium on there and then brushing it out, making sure that it's straight up and down. And then once this is done, I'm going to put this off to the side and let it completely dry. And now I'm going to go in with some white folk art acrylic paint that I got from Walmart. I'm just going to put some on this plate here, and then I'm going to take another chip brush. This one is a little bit bigger than the other one that I use, and I'm just going to go ahead and dab a little bit of this paint on here and start to brush it on. Now, normally when I do a crackle method, I try to get it all up and down in one coat. It just wasn't doing that for me, but because it's going to be farmhouse and really rustic looking, it didn't matter if it wasn't perfect. So I'm just going and taking my time and getting it all applied, and you want to make sure that the brush strokes are up and down. You don't want them to be like kitty wampus or anything like that. That'll mess up the look of it. And then once I have this all completely applied, I'm going to put it off to the side, and as it's drying, that's when the crackle look will start to pop through. So as soon as this is done drying completely, then we'll move on to the next step. And now that it is completely dry, I'm going to go ahead and remove all this painter's tape, and this is where we'll start seeing how this design is coming together, and then start figuring out what we're going to do next with it. I believe that at this point in time, because it's completely dry, I'm just going to take it and put it right in my spinner and get the first coats of epoxy on there. I did not need to seal the crackle method. I'm going straight in with 10 mLs of my KS Resins Liquidy Split Fast Set Epoxy, and because there's no glitter on this tumbler, I only needed to put one coat of epoxy on here. So I'm going to let this spin for the full 4 hours and then start working on the decal work. So Erica over at Paxton Projects made the most beautiful tumbler using like a water slide paper over the crackle method, and I thought this was just so cool that I had to try doing something as cool as that. So because I had that vinyl piece that I decided to use, I did go on to Emily's website, her Rustic Passions studio, and I bought the PNG image of the sunflower design that she had on that vinyl. So then I went ahead and on my Cricut, I just made a bunch of different sizes of it, and I printed it out on some Hayes water slide paper. Now, this particular paper is for my inkjet printer because that's where I was printing it from. So because it's going on the inkjet printer, I did have to spray it with a clear sealant 3 different times. So I would spray it, let it dry for a few minutes, go back out there, spray it, let it dry for a little bit longer. And then I did that 3 times. And then here's where I'm just going ahead and applying it. I have each of the designs going into some warm water, and I let them, when I first put them in, they curl up together. And then once it starts to relax, then I know that the water slide is ready. And then I just kind of move it around on the paper just to make sure that I'm getting good movement with it. And then you definitely want to get the tumbler wet and then just very carefully slide it on. And then I'm using this little silicone brush that I have to make sure that there's no bubbles in there. And then I'm just going to dab it off and start drying the water slide paper out. And then once I have all of these on, I'll put it off to the side and let them completely dry. And once those are dry, I'm going in with another 10 mLs of my fast set epoxy. Once again, I did not seal them. I am going straight in from having them dry and putting the epoxy right over here. I'm going to let this spin for 4 hours and then move on to the next step. So since I did a V-split, I wanted to make sure that I did some detail work on here, and so I decided to go in with a dark yellow for the thicker piece, and I'm just going to go ahead and just carefully apply this to both sides that needs the striping, and then I'm going to go over it with the same color chocolate brown that's in the sunflowers and just do a thinner line just to kind of start bringing the design together more. I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and just trim off any extra pieces, make sure that it's all nice and cleaned up. And then I got this decal from Gracefully Created, and once again, it's another one of Emily's sunflowers. So I started off using the hinge method to try to apply this correctly, and it just did not want to lay down for me. So I'm finally, after trying a couple times, I'm just gonna pull it off and then just lay it down like I normally do my decals, just laying it down and then taking it from the inside and rubbing the image out so that I can get it on there straight and correctly, and thank goodness it's a removable vinyl so that I could keep moving this, because if I would have done this with a UV DTF, it would have been over. But luckily it was a regular white back decal, and it all came together. Now I'm going in with another 10 mLs of my fast set epoxy. I'm gonna let this spin for 4 hours, sand this down really good, and then I'm gonna go in with 10 mLs of my Flynn Sisters Artist Cure resin to put that final coat on there, and then I will start working on the glitter butt. Last couple videos I've done, I've recorded my glitter butts, and I wasn't going to with this one, but then I decided that I was going to do a crackle on there, so I did. So what you're first going to see is that I already have the glitter on there. I did use my UV resin that I got from Amazon, and this is Bumble from Chase Ray Creations. It's a really pretty fine yellow that just matched the colors perfectly. So I've already put a couple coats on, let that dry, and now I'm going in again with my chip brush, and I put on the crackle medium, let it dry, and now I'm going in with the white acrylic paint that I used earlier and doing the same thing, just going ahead and just brushing it on there. I'm going to set this off to the side and let it dry, and then because it's got the glitter on there, I am going to clean the edge. That outer rim of glitter, I want it to stay that, so I'm going to just take my time and use some Q-tips and some of my alcohol, and I'm just going to clean out that outer rim really good and get it all shined up, and then I'll get the final coats of UV resin on there. And now I'm going to put one thin coat of my UV resin on here and spin it all around, make sure that I have it all lined up and even. Remember, keep your shades closed because you do not want to have the UV rays come in and dry that for you while you're trying to do this. Once I have this all on here, I'm going to go ahead and hit it with my little torch, and then I'm going to stick it under my UV lamp for 2 minutes and let it dry. And then I decided to throw a water slide image of the sunflower on there, just kind of like how I did for the rest of the tumbler, and I'll show you how I did that. So I just grabbed another bowl of warm water and threw the little water slide paper that was on there, and getting the bottom of it wet, I'm just going to very gently slide that off of the backing, take my little silicone brush, brush it down, make sure there's no bubbles in there, and then just dry it off, set it off to the side for about 5 minutes, let it be totally dry, and then I'm going to get the last 2 coats of the UV resin on there, and then the bottom will be all done. And now it is all done. I'm so glad that I decided to try this water slide method with the crackle. It is as beautiful as I hoped it would be, and the colors came together so beautifully. I love the fact that I took the inspiration of one piece of scrap vinyl to make this entire tumbler. It all came together so beautifully. And if you like this tutorial, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.